Nigeria, by extension, Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. As Generation Z, as we popularly call them, continues to enter the workforce in growing numbers, they are not just filling roles, they are reshaping the very nature of work itself. Born between the late 1990s and early 2010, this generation has shown they've grown in a digital-first world, and the world that is shaped by economic uncertainty and, of course, social change and some really major unprecedented global events. An example would be the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So their values reflect a deep desire for balance, authenticity, and purpose, often prioritizing flexibility, their mental well-being. You get to hear them say, oh, my mental health, and of course, meaningful work over traditional marketers of success like salaries or job title. Now, this shift is prompting companies to rethink how they attract, engage, and retain talent. Now, from remote work to fluid career path, Gen Z's influence a lot, especially in pushing organizations to adapt to more agile, people-centered model, right? The question is no longer if the workforce will change, but how fast it must evolve to meet the expectations of a generation that refuses to settle for business as usual. I mean, look at the Gen Zs and now look at what is going to happen with the Gen Alphas and the Gen Beta, or whatever it is that they call them. All right, so it's another beautiful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Osayiwa Mesale, and today we're just trying to understand how Gen Zs, how they think, their values, their behaviors, and how it's influencing, right, the future of work. Now, remember, Ways is all about you. You are the wine Ways, so be a part of the conversation every single day. Add your voice to the discussion. Please head on to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, invite families, friends, frenemies, everyone to watch and join the live show. And when I open the phone lines, I'll really love to hear your thoughts on this topic, because I'm going to be doing this all by myself today. I have no guests, so please, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. As always, let me allow you to ponder on my quote for the day. It says, work should enable people flourish, not just fulfill a material and financial function. And this was from HP Inc. All right, so again, as I said, we're discussing Gen Zs, their culture, their behavior, and how it's going to affect the future of work. So we'll delve into that topic much later. But first, I'm off on a break. When I come back from that break, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day. Please stay with me. All right, so Senator Natasha Oduang Akpoti Oduang, She returned to the Senate after serving a 6-month suspension, and she was seen smiling as the upper chamber resumed plenary following a 10 weeks recess with Senate President Godswill Akpabio presiding over the session. The lawmaker was accompanied by a handful of activists and loyalists, including the likes of Aisha Yusefu, and of course, Aisha Yusefu was spotted in the gallery while others weren't allowed in. She also walked into the Senate chamber and made her way to her seat. And after exchanging pleasantries with a few senators, as you know that Apoti Udwanga's return, right, it marks the end of her suspension that had generated widespread public debate and a lot of ruckus this earlier in the year. I am still waiting for the evidence, because honestly, the allegations, I can't seem to take my head away from or clear my head from that, very weighty allegations that she made against the Senate president. So yes, I'm happy that she's back in to resume her duties and represent her people. What is most important for me is that we should not allow injustice, or would I say impunity, we should not allow it just go quietly and be swept under the carpet. The allegations she made against the Senate president were really grave. They were really big. And I'm really hoping that, we are able to find closure as Nigerians, just, observing the things that are happening, not just only because of the fact that she's a woman and she's occupying that seat and with all the things that she went through. It's for other people that are coming behind her so that they can also say that, okay, I can speak for myself and I'll be able to find, closure. So this is not even a subject of justice or injustice or whatever. Let us even find closure. Let us see all the evidences. Let us hear what really, transpired with all the facts, and I mean, I would really love that. I don't know. But it seems like, things are looking good for her, because again, she has really stood her ground and she fought a very strong fight. There was something she posted on social media. I like to just quickly go to her page. It was a prayer. I said, this one is very strong. And she says, I draw a permanent boundary line. Right? The enemy has no rights to come near my family. No scheme could ever undo God's plan. No matter the circumstance, the cross has sealed my destiny. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. It says, calling on the power of heaven, I proclaim that every weapon formed against me must break in the mighty name of Jesus. And she then wrote, Senator Natasha H. Akpoti-Uduaghan, proudly Kogi Central. And of course, this was posted about today, 9 hours ago. So, I mean, it clearly tells you that there is a real issue. There's something, that she really battled. And that's why, for me, I would really love that, we're able to follow through, legal means, to find closure for this matter. It's not enough for her to just resume, as far as I am concerned. What made her to go on suspension in the first place? What kind of processes were followed? If it's not due process, then who are the people that should be held accountable? 6 months, it's a long time. It's a really long time, right? So I don't think it's something that we should just be quiet about. Yes, I'm happy that she's back, but beyond that, we want to find closure on this matter. All right, so I'll move on to my next story for the day, and that is the African Development Bank, AFDB. They've indicated that they have a plan to disburse $500 million to Nigeria before the close of 2025 as part of a 2-year, $1 billion budget support budget support facility intended to assist the country's ongoing macroeconomic reforms. This was disclosed by the Dr. Bode Oyetunde. He noted that the board of the multilateral lender is expected to approve the release of the second tranche before the end of the year, following the successful disbursement of the first $500 million in 2024. He then added that the Nigerian government had initially requested for $1.5 billion in assistance, but AFDB settled on a $1 billion support. And of course, this was packaged in a way that it would be delivered over 2 years. As you know, these are interesting times, right? They've collected $500 million, and I'm just wondering, where would we find a report that breaks down how that $500 billion have been spent so far? Because this will help us to understand that, okay, we're not just collecting money, but we're actually putting it to, the right channel, to help with infrastructure, to help with development, to help with, just the general things, the basic things that we need. Because they said that this facility is designed to support Nigeria's fiscal consolidation. So the power sector, it also supposed to help with governance improvement. So governance improvement, as far as I'm concerned, is a vague terminology. What is governance improvement? Are we talking improvement of internal structures within the government? Are we talking about structural improvement in terms of the general infrastructure that the general populace will use, things like roads, housing and all of that? What exactly is governance improvement, right? For me, I think it's vague, and I'm really hoping that we're able to find I'll try to find someone to help us break this down, to see how far the first tranche of the $500 million, how far it's gone, and what this new $500 million would be channeled towards. There are businesses that are actually in need of funding, right, in need of good funding so that they can expand the businesses, right? We're talking manufacturers, we're talking farmers, we're talking even, the likes of us that are setting up different kinds of people need business money. But, we have tried to access loans and all of that, and it's just kind of like delayed. So if you say governance improvement, what exactly it is? You specified power sector. We all know that the power sector is in their need of a lot of reforms, right? So it is the terminology governance improvement that I really want to have clarity on. What does that mean for, for the income that is coming? So, yeah, but this is the story. So we're hoping that we can find, real traceable, breakdown for this funding. Okay, so I'll move on to my final story today. So Nigerians have to pay more to purchase premium motor spirits. So that's what we call PMS. You can call it petrol, as prices skyrocket in some filling stations in the nation's capital in Abuja. So some filling stations have increased their fuel price to between 905 naira to 945 naira per liter. So this is reacting to, I think there was the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. They had some issues, and the spokesperson, Abubakar, right, May Gandhi and Chiedu Okadike respectively blamed this hike on the disruption that was caused by Pengasen and the Pengasen strike. So we're still on that matter. Megadi noted that the hike may be due to the supply disruption. He, however, stated that its members had received petrol from Dangote refinery, and of course the product came at between 885 naira per liter to about 895 naira per liter. So how this is now getting to 945, well, honestly, this Dangote matter and the issues with Pengasen is quite complicated, and I feel like Nigerians need to follow this story. Because again, I said it yesterday, I listened to someone's analysis, and the man was just basically breaking down why we have prices of some of these things so expensive. And if Nigerians really understand the amount of corruption that is going on and how people want to just continue to enrich themselves at the detriment of the average Nigerian on the streets, then I think that should be enough to get us, waking up and questioning a lot of things and actually demanding for a lot of things. Because in fairness, we can actually get this cost really low. But when you look at all the bottlenecks and all the associations and all the charges and all the entire process before it gets to that pump, that's what causes price increment in some of these products. So it's actually quite disturbing. And what is most painful is that if we had an economy that was thriving, where an average graduate can just graduate from school today, get a very decent job, can afford a decent home, maybe a mortgage, can afford to buy a brand new car, can live your life, and yes, you're earning your income, you're paying your taxes and all of that, and you're able to go with the flow, then some of these price hikes will not be a problem. But when you have, a system that it is so draining, right? It's draining. How do you expect people to survive? Because the income is not increasing, but every single chain of expense is increasing. So from electricity, to petrol, to gas. We talked about gas yesterday. All of these things are going high. So how do we then, what is the hope for the average man if everything is going high but your salary or your income that you're earning? How do we survive? So it's just a sad reality, and honestly, it's painful for us, some of us that are entrepreneurs, because again, everybody's helpless. It's not like the income is coming, the income is not really coming as it should come, so you just have to juggle a lot of things, and that's really, that's why you can now see you can now see the thought behind a lot of some of these Gen Zs and their choice of jobs. Yeah, it then kind of like backs their choices. You see them, they want to be YouTubers, I want to be a TikToker, because honestly, in the end, you have to find the place that you would be able to at least, earn something decent to meet the demands of the bills that come to you on a daily basis. Okay, I've said a lot. I'm going to take a break now. When I come back from that break, yes, as I said, I'm alone today, so we're discussing Gen Zs. Stay with me, we'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, as Gen Zs become a dominant force in the labor market, understanding how their cultural identity influences the future of work is very vital, especially for employers, policymakers, and generally the society at large. New data from HP Inc., right, that's the 2025 data work relationship index, today revealed that 4 in every 5 Gen Z employees would be willing to give up part of their salary in exchange for greater flexibility and autonomy. Hey, Salobwa. So the report added that a growing generational shift is redefining what it means to thrive at work, maintaining that younger professionals are pushing back against outdated work models and demanding a more balanced, purpose-driven experience. Gen Zs and millennials, now the majority of the global workforce that we have today, are reshaping work with new expectations of about 51% of Gen Z workers. And this report also showed that a lot of these Gen Z workers, they have their own side hustle. So 4 in every 5 Gen Z employee would give up part of their salaries, because of those side hustles that they have. So as the younger generations are leading AI adoption, demanding purpose-driven leadership, and leaving companies that fail to keep up some of these things, you are now asking yourself, where is the hope of organizations like ours that we still have to do certain kinds of traditional things? So I'm actually even thinking, right, how do we find a balance, right, with what the future of work looks like and your average media organization? Because again, I've seen some organizations already creating AI versions of their news anchors, AI versions of their, their presenters, and all of that. And I'm wondering, how would this really play out? Because for what we do, for instance, there is emotion needed, there is thought needed, right? Can an AI replica of UA, for instance, do a full show, right, that talks about everything, and it will be connected, or you'll be relatable to the audience that is watching? Or it's just going to be something that is already pre-programmed in the mind of that AI double? So, I mean, there's a lot that is happening. But one thing is for sure, one thing we've done within our organization, honestly, I don't know if it is flexibility, but I know that what we have also done is give people room to say, okay, you can earn income from other places as long as it does not affect your job. Because you really cannot help it. A lot of young people, actually, they want to have multiple streams of income, and that's because they want to gain financial freedom very quickly. So how to juggle all of that and still maintain a proper 9-to-5 job, is something that is a struggle. We've had employees that we've had to let go within the organization because it was not just working. Every single day, you're always hearing one lamentation or the other about my mental health. Like it's almost becoming a song, right? And this is where some people now wonder that, okay, where do we draw the line between that ability for tenacity, that ability to push through, that ability to be dogged, with, every little stress that comes to you, you just start to scream about your mental health. So it's a bit blurry, those lines, right? But hey, that's what we are faced with. So one of the things that Gen Zs are very great at right now is digital fluency, and they also are very great at remote work expectations. They want to deliver, but they just want to deliver remotely. So we have a fully remote staff, for instance, and I know how every day there's fights because our graphics designer is fully remote, right? Fully remote. We've never seen him. We don't even know what he looks like. So basically, we can pass him on the road and we'll not know what Chima looks like because he's fully remote. And I mean, he's been delivering on his job. Yeah, there will be some lapses here and there and all of that, but this is who they are, right? One of the most defining traits of Gen Z is their digital fluency. They can operate a lot of things. They can work remotely, right? And again, because they have grown in an era where we have smartphones, we have social media, we have high-speed internet, right? I mean, the possibilities are limitless, right? With what Gen Zs can do with technology, because they are just, there integrating everything and making sure that they deliver on the job. I have a sister that works fully remote, right? She's not Gen Z, but she works fully remote, and that's because, again, immediately after what happened, in the 2020s and 2019, the pandemic, right? A lot of organizations now saw that, there's actually no need for physical buildings if we can get the job done. So people jump on meetings, and all of that, and you just have a full-fledged remote workspace where people can join in meetings from anywhere they are in the world. So yes, I mean, this is the reality of a lot of Gen Zs, right? They have integrated, technology, and they are very, great at doing those jobs remotely. That's the ones that have trained themselves, to do that, right? And these things that are railed out, it makes them highly adaptable to new digital tools, right? You see a Gen Z, they are not afraid of new technology, but it also helps them to give it also gives them more flexibility with their time, right? Especially if, as I said, if it's just full remote. Some of them do hybrid, so they come in maybe twice in a week and then, work the remaining 3 days at home. So it gives them a lot of flexibility with their time. So that's why you now find a lot of Gen Zs having to do multiple jobs, right? So many Gen Z workers, they prioritize, as you know, they prioritize a lot of work-life balance. As I said earlier, their mental health, and this is just changing how work is done. One of the things that I am more concerned about is the ability to be disciplined, even in that remote work. Because one thing that I have seen is, I've seen my sister work as a full remote staff, right? And I know how dedicated, she even works more hours than if she were going to be like going to a physical building, because she wakes up as early as 7 a.m. Sometimes she's on her laptop all through, not even standing up, and it's somehow is a bad thing, because you're supposed to take breaks in between. But she's working fully all through, and once it's 5 p.m. she gets off from her system and she then goes on to do her day job. But how many of these young people have the discipline to do this? You see, so that's why I get it that Gen Zs want flexibility, they want to be able to free up their time, they want to be able to have that work-life balance and all of that. But you see, there is a high level of discipline that comes more with remote work than physical building. You can be in a physical building and not doing anything, right? You can be anywhere, you're not doing anything. Coming to a physical building does not really say that you are working. You can just be there and just gallivanting around and not doing nothing, right? But you see, the discipline of you going on your system, logging into your meetings, attending to all the emails and all of those things, that takes a lot. And I think for me, from the experiences I have personally had with some Gen Zs, I don't think they're even ready for that. They want the idea of flexibility of time, but they are not ready to commit to when that time is given to them, that flexibility. I don't know if you understand that, the point I'm making. I like all the flashy things, I like all the things, but the work to get it done or to acquire those things, I'm not ready for that. So, and this is where, a lot of conversations need to go between companies and the Gen Z, because a lot of companies, that fail to offer some form of flexibility, as I've mentioned, they risk losing these talents. They risk it seriously, because these people are not ready. So I've had to adjust some of my staff, their schedules, some of them coming 3 times a week, and all of that. I've had to do a lot of reshuffling and readjustment and all of those things, just to be able to get, young people to work. Unfortunately, we're in the era where they're not even interested. So, Gen Z, they're a handful working with Gen Zs. I can tell you that for free. All right, so another thing that you would really need to understand when you're trying to hire the Gen Z, the emphasis would be on purpose, right? Diversity and inclusion. So Gen Zs, they are highly value-driven. I've seen a lot of young people that I'll be, in my head, I'm calculating, how is this person expected to make money in all of this, right? Because you're talking about purpose, you're talking about passion, you're talking about all of those things. So the kind of job that they are even looking for are the things that moves them, they are driven, they are convinced, they have to have a conviction, right, for them to be able to do the job. Unlike the previous generations, that they are more likely to just seek a job. Let me just be earning my salary. You understand? They just want to make money and earn their salary. They're not interested in. So that's why you see a lot of people, they were bankers, they were, lawyers. But you see these people here, as long as it makes sense. I just want to be handcrafting a button. I just want to be a TikToker. I just want to be a YouTuber. I just want to tell stories. I just want to talk to people and reach out and connect with people. You start to hear those kind of careers. I know what my mother would say. What exactly is going on? So they don't understand challenges like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, doctor. No, it's too serious for them. Even the young people, the young Gen Zs that I know that have studied law, they've studied like serious courses. They packed it in one corner. They said, this one is for my parents. I'm giving you a certificate. So I now want to go and pursue my dream. So you see things like, oh, I want to be a climate change advocate. I want to be a racial and gender equality advocate. I want to be a mental health advocate. Those are the things, the kind of careers that you hear Gen Z talk about. And you see, companies must now, because you know that this is where their mind is at. So companies are also supposed to structure it in a way that they are able to tie in some of those things that gives them that satisfaction, right? So companies are now more conscious about diversity. Companies are more conscious about mental health and mental wellness. Companies are more conscious about climate friendly things. So you can do a table, for instance, and the table is made from biodegradable materials. So when you start to have those conversations around the Gen Z, then you're able to attract them to your organization, because now they are seeing something bigger than just making money, than just earning a salary. I suppose us we just wanted to earn salaries. So a lot of Gen Zs are committed to some of those kinds of causes, right? Where there's equity, there's inclusion. So it's not just about, oh, I want to make straight A's. I want to just, earn 10 figures salaries and all of that. Nah. Gen Zs are very particular about what impacts, right? How would this impact? How would this tie into my own bigger vision? So employees now have to go back and refine some of their work principles and all of that to be able to fit into the world. Because whether we like it or not, they're already occupying about 51% of the workforce. In the very near future, our own ideologies of work and all of that will be completely gone, and it will be the ideologies of Gen Zs and the gens after them. So how do we now ensure that work is still being done and is still fine-tuned? So those are the kind of the kinds of things to consider. Another one would be redefining career path and job loyalty. So as I said earlier, because unlike our generation, we pursued just linear path. Let's just, long-term job security. I can work for you for 50 years and all of that. Gen Zs, they're not like that. So they want the non-traditional work environment. They want, things like freelancing, entrepreneurs. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to go from jobs to job, So, they are very, very driven by skills, right? Skill development, skill acquisition. They want to have a footing in personal growth and development. So meaningful experiences over just, oh, I'm the CEO. They are not interested in all those titles, right? They want meaningful experiences. So it's not a thing of money for them. It is a thing of, okay, am I growing in this? Am I impacting? And this could significantly disrupt how employers manage and retain some of them, especially because now employers now need to structure a career path, right? A career progression for them to say, okay, we see you, we see what you're passionate about, and we can tie it into what it is that you want to do. So for organizations, for you to engage a Gen Z, you must offer, things like ongoing learning opportunities, clear developmental pathways, and of course, give them room for creativity and autonomy. So this is one thing that Gen Zs, it's their bread and butter. They want to be able to come into a room and say, you know what, I want to fly in the sky. So I see them every day. So I'll just keep quiet and just be looking, because again, that is who they are, right? A lot of the Gen Zs are very creative, right? They want that autonomy. They want to be able to just say, oh, I just thought about this idea and let us do it. It is well. So that's one thing that a lot of companies should really look forward to, especially with Gen Z, so that you're able to retain them within your organizations? Another one would be technology, AI, and of course the changing nature of work. So you must find a way to incorporate technology into your company. Then also any position, right, that requires, technology, artificial intelligence. Those are the kind of things that they are interested in, instead of focusing on the regular, I'm a marketer, go and sell, go and this, They like soft skills. They like things like, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, all of those things. You put it together nicely and package it, that's because if you really want to get the authenticity of a Gen Z, right, you have to be able to give them that platform where they feel like they are valued and they feel like they can express themselves, not boxed, and they can just say, okay, this is how I feel. And so that freedom to be able to give them that, that is very important for Gen Zs. When it comes to leadership for Generation Z, I would say that is slightly not as the traditional. They like the democratic structure in the workplace where, first name basis, all this hierarchical structure of, your boss, I'm your this, I'm your that, all of those things, they don't work for Gen Zs. They prefer collaborative workspace, and of course, Gen Zs are one people that I think they've gotten it right when it comes to transparency and inclusivity, right? They like those kind of transparent leadership. They like inclusive leadership. So you are consulting with them. What do you think about this? They expect their own voices to be heard, regardless of ranking, right? They value open dialogues and feedback. So instead of you just, telling them, go and do this, they want to say, okay, what's your opinion on this? What do you think about this, right? Because that would give them a sense of belonging. It would give them a sense of, okay, I am not being shut down here. I'm being heard. And you can actually buy their loyalty if you continue to do it in a manner that they don't feel boxed, or they don't feel like somebody is lording it over them. So leaders in the future, if you really want to work with these Gen Zs, you must embrace empathy, cultural intelligence. You must embrace a lot of perspective decision making, because it has to be, let me hear from you, let me hear from you, let me hear from them. We come together, we then take a decision. Sometimes it's not like I don't know what to do, but I just pretend like I don't know what to do, and hear from other people to say, okay, what do you think we should do? And all of that. I think it just helps. And I think, beyond even the Gen Z, generally, I am learning to listen to everyone. Okay, let me hear your opinion. What do you think about this video? What do you think about this edit? Do you think we did it well? Where can we improve? And all of that. By the time you do that, even generally, just as a leader within your organization, you get better engagement with your staff. You also get better loyalty with your staff, because it means that they know that, okay, if I give a good feedback, if I give a good opinion, my voice will be heard. And I think those are some of the strongest ways you can, engage. Because whether we like it or not, the future of work, it has changed. So we need to adapt to that change, or else, we will just become very obsolete. So let's go on a short break, right? When we come back from that break, of course, I'll share more insights, and I hope to hear from you. Get your messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, if you are just tuning in, welcome. So we're having a conversation, or I am having a conversation on how Gen Zs, right, their values and what the behavior is like and how it's going to influence the future of work, right? Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also leave us a live message on our YouTube link. We'll be able to read your message read out your message. So our phone lines are also open, 07025007749 or 07014242420. In case you disagree with some of the things I've said or you agree with it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. All right, so I mean, as I said, as Generation Z, they continue to enter and shape the workforce as we know it today. Organizations, educational institutions, policymakers, they all must adapt to ensure a productive, inclusive, and future-ready work environment. If not, you, as I said, you just fizzle out. Here's, of course, I think I did a breakdown of what I feel the way forward is. It might possibly just be me repeating what I've said, but just to break it down so we do it as actionable steps and forward-looking strategies that we can highlight. To just be able to say, okay, if you're thinking, because honestly, who are you going to employ today? It's the Gen Z, so you have to prepare. Because I've heard a lot of my friends, especially in their mid-40s, they're always complaining. They're just giving me headache and all of that. I feel like there's a huge disconnect between that generation and the Generation Z. And imagine what will happen, the generation that is coming after the Z, what will happen with them. So I feel like there has to be some strategies to adapt if you really want to get the best out of them, and if you really want to build a company that would outlive you, because I don't think you will be hiring 60-something-year-olds, 70-something-year-olds to work for you, so you would need to hire young people. And as we get younger and younger in the generation, you would need to start to change your mindset. I feel like some of these things is highly hinged on mindset. It's not I know. It's actually hinged on mindset, because there's a way the generation, different generations, there's a way they think. There's a way they've been programmed to think. That's the word. There's a way they've been programmed to think. And if you understand that this is a programming, you can reprogram yourself to think differently. And this cuts across all generations, because if we're dealing with young people, for instance, somebody that does not understand the box television, we grew up where TV will start at 4 p.m., right? Like your television will start at 4 p.m. with all those colorful lines. In fact, we had a TV that had the TV had a drawer or something. How do you open it to watch the TV, right? We grew up with those things where TV, you will hit the TV so that the signal will come. Somebody will go and climb the pole and turn it, or go outside and turn. You don't get the signal. That's what we grew up with. But this generation, they have no clue. They don't understand your reality, right? So for us to be able to grow as a people and, of course, build companies that would outlive us, we need to be able to be flexible enough, right, to embrace all nuances from all generations and understand it. So there's a strategy for it. The first one would be to embrace flexibility, as I said. You must embrace flexibility as your new normal. Because Generation Z, they've made it very clear. They've said it in clear terms. Like, I've had someone interviewed for a job. In fact, let me not even go there. And literally, it's almost like a taboo to say resume at 8 a.m. and close at 5 p.m. Why? Why do I have to do it? I'm so sorry. Why? I've had somebody just, like, after the interview say, oh, sorry, I can't take the job offer. I have a better offer, and that one gives me more flexibility. So Generation Z, they've made it very clear that flexibility, flexible work, especially with remote hybrid structures, you understand, all those kind of models is what they want. They don't want your traditional model, right? And all the ones that you're putting all those perks and all of that, consign them. Am I able to have freedom? Am I able to have my time and all of that? That is the clarity. That is what they want. So how do we retain this generation is what we must now look at. So, I mean, I would say that employees, right, or employers rather, they should invest in infrastructure that would support some of these digital, digital or remote work flexibility. So that might be a struggle in Nigeria, because I know that remote work abroad is quite simple. You get the job, you've done everything online, every single thing. They don't even know who you are. They don't see your face. They ship the laptops. They ship your laptops. They ship your desktop as well. They ship it to your house, and you set up your computer, and you resume work. We might not have that flexibility in terms of because again, there are so many factors that are, and this is where I want Gen Zs, I want you people to reach an understanding with us. There are so many factors that would ensure that there is smooth workflow when it comes to remote work or hybrid structures. We don't have an accurate population data. We don't have even addresses, right? And all of that. You can't just put an address and say, ship this, it might end up in somewhere else, right? So there are so many factors. Power issues, right? You have the issues with power. We still have issues with poor internet, especially in some areas. So remote work, yes, is a great thing to have, but I want Gen Zs to also please, let's come to the middle ground, because it might be what you want, but the reality of where you are in Nigeria might not accommodate a full-fledged remote work. So that kind of middle ground would be where we will now have that. But yes, I would say to organizations, if you can afford it, do it. I remember even for TV, when the pandemic happened in the US, shows like The View, right, shows like The Talk, they actually went, and I mean, these things are expensive. They set up mini streaming what's it called, system. So the camera, the laptops, the whatever, they set it up in the houses of each of their anchors. But how many media organizations can afford that? So we will get there. We will get there, but it's something that we all need to get to that understanding, to say that, full-fledged remote might not just be the situation. But I want us to at least let us have a conversation and have that understanding and see the realities of what is on ground. Then we can now work with our own realities, right? Because yes, most organizations would do that if they had the means to do it, to just set up your office completely in your house, and all of that. But again, there is also a case of arm robber. So after you have done all of that, somebody can just call you, oh, sir, I was working and arm robbers came to my house and packed all my... Like, there are so many factors. There are so many factors. So yes, even though we want to offer custom work options that it is unique to you, that would accommodate your lifestyle and your personal needs, I still need you as a Gen Z to please understand with us that it might not be really feasible, with Nigeria. But that's the first one. As I said earlier, with organizations, another way to cheat and get the hearts of Gen Zs to work for you, you must prioritize mental health and well-being. So we're trying. I don't know whether I have that capacity to do that yet, because me, I'm just a workaholic, right? But I mean, if you can, organize things like, retreats, organize all of those things for them, because mental health is not negotiable for a Gen Z. They are more open about their emotional wellness. I've seen a lot of people resign just for my mental well-being. Like, the person just left the job, no hope of another job, and they just resign. A good paying job, like a 6-figure salary, and they resigned and they left. What happened? That place was too toxic for my mental health. So that's what you hear. So employers must really prioritize mental wellness, and of course they must be intentional about how the workspace supports, the Gen Z, because if you provide those mental health benefits, right? So things like counseling services, wellness days, stress management programs, and all of that. If you do that, you can also, help to retain them, right? It's something that is feasible. It's not 100%, but it's feasible. We're hoping that by the time we move to a bigger space, things like a mini gym, for instance, where you can do your yoga, your stretches, something that can give you, we can even put like table tennis or something, just play around. We have bicycles in my office, at least we did try small. It's not a lot, but I mean, those little things, right? Just to keep them, happy, keep them, fun. Then also, of course, train your managers, to understand and spot a burnout. Something happened recently with one of my staff in the office, and I was saying to the person, I said, next time when a message like this comes, you don't sit on it, you actually address it. Because again, when you hear a staff saying something, it's not 100% what the staff is saying that the staff is actually saying. It might be something completely different. So you must be able to spot, that burnout, and then, help revive them and make them feel like, okay, they are being heard. You must foster a purpose-driven workspace, as I said earlier. It has to be tied to something meaningful, something beyond the salary. It's not just, so you must give them opportunities to engage in purposeful work. So things like volunteering, things that would help them see a bigger picture about their lives and all of that. All of those things would help, the Gen Zs. You must, as I said before, they are very big on inclusiveness, right? Diverse culture, inclusivity. Please, as much as you can. In my organization, I think we have different people from different tribes and different, and different tongues. So it's important that we have that. You must rethink growth, career growth and learning. So meaning that as much as you can, if there are small trainings you can get, for them to do that helps with their personal development and growth, that will be very, very welcomed for Gen Zs. I mean, the list is endless. Unfortunately, I thought I would not have time to to finish it up, but honestly, that's I'll stop here. I'll say that the value, Gen Zs, they value leaders who are very transparent and empathetic and very collaborative. So please, as a leader, now this is me talking to employers like myself, be intentional about empathetic leadership, transparency, and collaborative work. You must invest in the generation that would help, or the next generation that would help with leadership, right? So not just say, oh, do your work. Invest in them so that they become, leaders, and they can also help train other people. So I don't know. My time is up. So let me just quickly say that the future of work is not something that will happen, right, to Gen Z. It is something that is already happening. They are actively creating what they want the work environment or the work culture to look like, right? So I'm just saying this. I think I caught this a long time ago, and I'm saying it now. I don't know who is the business person that is out there that is hearing you. You have to find a way to ensure that your work environment is adaptable for a Gen Z, because to move forward, organizations must shift from the traditional, the rigid systems to agile workspaces. So agile, it means that everything is on the move, is you're going, right? It has to be value driven. One of the biggest things that I think I was able to win the hearts of a lot of Gen Zs that work for me is because what we do here is value driven. It's not really about the money for us. It's about how much impact we're making. It's how much value we're giving. Yes, we're praying that the money comes because we need all the money. Media is expensive to run, but beyond the money, it has always been about the vision. It has always been about the impact. What are we doing? So once your environment is impact driven, your environment is value driven, you're able to attract those kind of workforce. And again, as I said, beyond that, inclusive models, that would align with the Gen Z culture. Just make it very adaptable, right? If leaders are able to adapt and build workspaces that are not that are not rigid, it can actually attract a very vibrant Generation Z workforce. And it can also build a very innovative, human-centered, resilient, company. And you see, sometimes people think that Gen Zs are lazy. I beg to differ. I think you've not just been able to crack what is that feel that makes them wake up every morning, right? It's not about being lazy. It is about, cracking the code that speaks to what it is that they want to do. So if you're able to align those things, then you are able to attract, the Generation Z. So I don't know if I've been able to make good use of my time with this topic, but I enjoyed every moment that I spoke on this topic. And Gen Zs, please, we love you. Just help us, let us reach a middle ground, because again, as I said, the realities of Nigeria, some of the expectations from Gen Zs might not be feasible. And I really hope that we're able to meet halfway so that we can build organizations that would outlive us. We know that the workspace, traditional work is going obsolete, but yes, we are willing to adapt to the new normal, but please, we'll need your cooperation. So thank you again for watching. Before I go, ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, invite families, friends, frenemies, everyone to watch and follow the conversation. If you know a Gen Z, please share this link to them. This show was just all about them today, and I hope they agree with me. All right, so if you missed our quote for today, it says, work should enable people to flourish, not just fulfill a material and financial function. And that is actually the realities of Gen Zs. All right, so I'm not going to be seeing you tomorrow, as Choma will take over. Yes, my Gen Z, she's take over the space tomorrow at 8 p.m. And please do ensure you enjoy the rest of your evening.